Hi everyone, welcome to my review of Skyfall from 2012, directed by Sam Mendes, and yes, the 23rd James Bond film in the franchise, so yes, marking of course the 50th anniversary of James Bond and the third Daniel Craig outing, so yes, we are back once again, finally, to discuss James Bond, and it's been a few months now, but you know, nevertheless, we're here. That's all that matters, and yeah, it's been a while. I've missed kind of talking about Bond, you know, on the channel, and yeah, just watching once again, rewatching Spectre in a few days. So I thought it'd be a perfect way to finally review this film here and share my thoughts on this. And there will be spoilers in this discussion, so if you haven't seen this film, I simply recommend seeing it first and then coming back to this this video here, wherever it is, you know, discussion, a review. It'll be a decent length, you know, kind of going through the different, you know, various plot points and just the different elements, breaking it down, and my kind of thoughts, you know, on this film and. Another kind of disclaimer, of course, you know, this will be a positive, a very, very positive review. It won't be a negative one. So just saying that now, you know, this is a film that truly is very, very special to me and, you know, just a film that I truly, truly love. I'll say that now. So yes, with all that said, let's discuss this truly, for me, legendary Bond film. And, you know, this is just, you know, a remarkable film. And watching it again a few months ago now, this just reminded me of how much I truly love this film, and you know, it'd been, of course, you know, around 2.5 years, you know, prior since I last watched this film, you know, on that rewatch, you know, my original reviews, you know, on the you know, on the channel, but yeah, seeing it again, just wow, you know, this film truly is, you know, for me, an absolute masterwork and a one-off, you know, maybe not top three. I'll say that now. That's at least, you know, I won't kind of be placing this in my top three, you know, kind of Bond films. But this really is one of my absolute favourites, and you know, it just really gets everything right, and really is. It kind of tributes, respects the franchise, in my opinion. Just kind of feeling the legacy of Bond, you know, in this, but it's its own thing. It's its own kind of unique take on Bond, and just. It's very, very different film to even, you know, Casino Royale in that sense, but it feels like Bond, and it's, you know, kind of this film that pretty much delivers, you know, all I want in a Bond film, the kind of things I look for in a Bond film, and you know, it has this kind of calling back to classic Bond films as well as, you know, just classic cinema, and just, as I say, you know, kind of this unique take on Bond, and you know, really, of course, Daniel Craig providing a performance that is very unique as well in his kind of Bond portrayals, and you know, I guess it is very, very different to his other ones, and it's this kind of broken Bond that we see in this film, and due to, of course, the opening sequence leading on from that. But yes, we'll go back to my kind of memories of seeing this, go back to the beginning, of course, in that sense, and just the experience, you know, of seeing this for the first time was just so special for me, and you know, the anticipation, you know, of this building up to the release for me was unbearable. You know, having been a Bond fan all my life, you know, I'd seen most of the Bond films, you know, until this, and just, you know, GoldenEye, of course, one that I watched all the time as a kid, and Casino Royale as well, being blown away by that. Was not a fan of Quantum of Solace, seeing that at the cinema, but you know, regardless of that, you know, I thought, you know, I have high hopes, of course, and just heard a few kind of rumours before seeing this, and not really, though, reading into this too much, wanting to kind of be, you know, surprised, and just, yes, the kind of the anticipation was just unbearable though, and going to the cinema with the family, and I remember the kind of travelling there, and just, you know, a few miles to get to the actual cinema that I was kind of going to, and just you know, the evening we kind of was the kind of showing of this, and it just wow, you know, of course, just seeing this film, you know, I was just blown away, and you know, after kind of watching this film and coming out of the you know, the screening, and just the kind of journey back was, you know, I still remember the kind of feeling, you know, I guess, you know, perhaps some would also kind of have experienced this. You see a film and it just blows you away so much that you're kind of speechless, you know, afterwards, and you know, I just remember seeing this film and you know, just not talking at all, just being kind of, you know, grinning at times, you know, on the journey back, and just kind of as well, you know, being going over things in my mind, you know, having been kind of very, very emotionally affected by this film, and you know, it's just it has so much going on in this, and it was such a kind of overwhelming experience that I was just kind of speechless, and I just remember kind of the feeling of that, just going over it and wanting to see it again, and as soon as it was kind of released, we got the DVD, and shortly after that, of course, the Blu-ray, and watching this many times, it only came out in 2012, but I've seen it many times since then, and just watching this film, and every single time I think really just growing on me even more, and it really is one of my favourite films, and just a very special kind of memory attached to this, and I think this film really is just so wonderful in the way it kind of tributes and kind of respects the legacy of Bond. Different kind of subtle references throughout, and ones that really are satisfying. Nods to, for example, Goldfinger, of course, the DB5, and just seeing this, and many different nods, and kind of tributes, and I guess kind of these homages to past films in the franchise, and even simply the performance of Daniel Craig. He channels. I guess it seems like a bit of Roger Moore in this film, and Connery more than perhaps his previous two performances, and it's very fascinating. And this film really, the narrative is just so investing, and so many different themes kind of explored in this film. And I think really we go from this incident, of course, in Istanbul, when Bond falls, of course, and shot, and it's kind of he falls into this into the water, and it leads into the credits, and of course really that is kind of symbolic, being Bond is dead, I guess, and this really fascinating way in which the rest of the film, at least to a point, is kind of showing this broken Bond, you could say, and kind of exploring this, and is there any of the old 007 left? That is a kind of question, of course. Is kind of said by our villain of the film, Silver, of course. But that is a question that's kind of explored throughout the film, and for me, certainly is. Some of the old 007 left. This really is such a kind of fascinating and masterful narrative, and just seeing James Bond being shot, and his kind of usual antics, of course. In the first sequence, we have a very a pretty lengthy sequence, in comparison to other kind of pre-title sequences, Bond. But we have this, and we have layers upon layers of action, comedy, and just seeing this kind of team, working together, and trying to get this hard drive, of course, as we know, and yes, this whole kind of layered action sequence, the tension, and the way in which it's so varied. There is so much going on here. Bond kind of getting onto the bike as well, and then onto the train, and just this kind of variety in the action, and the kind of tension mounting, and that final shot where Bond falls, and the use of silence, as this kind of shocking moment happens, really is so affecting. And yes, we have this. After that, kind of showing this gritty, grizzled Bond, you could say, and seeing how he is broken, but he does return, and there's a point in the film where seeing him kind of going through on the boat, as we know later in the film, and at night time, the lights all shining, and just this kind of stance, and seeing Daniel Craig in that moment, it's Bond. It really is. It defines the character so kind of perfectly. Seeing that is comparable to seeing for example Connery in his suit, just standing around, just being Bond. It really is, and it just feels so authentic and earned as well, kind of coming back, and just this moment where we have at first Bond struggling to even take part in the kind of they're checking, of course, the kind of routines to see that he's able to, be an agent, passing the tests, and obviously, as we know, that is engineered, so he, passes. But seeing all that, and the kind of the struggle, it makes this kind of moment where we see Bond finally returning is so much more satisfying. And still, after that, we have many different struggles throughout the narrative, for Bond and M, of course, as well. This one really, Skyfall, kind of explores the relationship between M and Bond more than any other film in the franchise, and it just does it so well. This is just masterful. And in the end, I was just crying when I first saw this, seeing, of course, as we know, the death of M. Wow, I did not see that coming. The first time I saw this, and family members as well being so shocked by this. Of course, just growing up, everyone around me really with Bond, of course, being a thing, and M, of course, being kind of a pivotal character, and ever since, of course, GoldenEye, Judi Dench just has this. I find she has this perfect way of kind of showing a dynamic between her and Bond, of course. Pierce Brosnan and of course Daniel Craig. These two, I think they were just perfect in kind of this relationship. This kind of parent figure really that M has, over Bond, and just seeing, of course, in this film the way in which it really culminates, and the character of M, just really giving up everything in terms of just the emotions, and I think Judi Dench gives such a masterful performance in this film, and I just was so moved by this, in the end, and seeing her death and Bond kind of consoling her, and just her dying in Bond's arms. That is just perfect, in the sense of the narrative and the build up to this, this entire franchise. What a way to kind of allow this character, this portrayal of this character, to kind of depart. And as we know, in the end of this film, we have Mallory becoming M, and I love how he in the end becomes M. But Judi Dench, she was for me the absolute greatest. M, and in this film, really she gives her best performance, and it just really is staggering. And to see Daniel Craig, of course, the emotions, just the warmth, through his channeling the character of Bond, and this relationship. It's just one of the most fascinating and I think moving aspects of this film, and just the way in which this narrative really shows how the past can come to kind of haunt you. And really this character of Silver, of course, played by Javier Bardem, he really is trying to get revenge, on M for her previously, of course, giving him up, and he was a previous kind of MI6 agent, and just once again, just like GoldenEye, this fellow past agent, although very, very different in the sense that Trevelyan, he was a character who kind of was friends with Bond, and then of course we have that. But Silver is a character who we never really see, of course, anything before that. We just kind of hear what he has to say about previous events, and we don't kind of get any more context than that. But of course our plans of the villain, Silver, it's so fascinating to see, and of course Javier Bardem playing Silver so masterfully in this film. I think, of course, seeing him, previously, of course, before seeing, for example, Skyfall for the first time, even I had seen No Country for Old Men, and had been, kind of haunted by this portrayal, of this villain in that film, and once again, I think, in Skyfall, Javier Bardem, portrays, a villain in such a way that can only be kind of described as one of the greatest villains of all time in cinema history. Yes, indeed. And I think, in terms of Bond, really, I would say this and GoldenEye, for me, are the greatest, kind of villains. And I think just, I'm not going to kind of spoil GoldenEye, of course, but this film here is kind of similar in a way. I'm not going to say how, but seeing, of course, this film, and just kind of learning about this villain, and we don't really get too much though. Seeing other contexts, we just hear this from his point of view, really, most of the time. From Silver's point of view, and saying, of course, that M betrayed him, gave him up, and that, of course, is one of the motivations, for his plans, and compromising MI6. Him being a past MI6 agent, and just. Kind of used apparently by M, and given up, and she does kind of later on, confirm this. But we have this very fascinating moment, which we'll get to at some stage in this review, when Bond is kind of thinking a few things, about M, and how perhaps he was used in a way, and kind of. You could say one would kind of potentially see the first kind of opening sequence as betrayal, but it's very complex, and the way it's kind of explored in the film is so subtle and organic, and kind of this authentic feeling and sincerity that really is so wonderful to see. But yes, seeing Silver's plans and the way he kind of compromises MI6, and of course they have to relocate and all this kind of stuff, and seeing the kind of central part of the film, we have the kind of London Underground scenes. This is just stunning, and the way in which Silver constantly is on the case and trying to compromise MI6 and very nearly killing M in this kind of middle act, and just wow, really such a tense film, and so investing, and the fact that this is kind of decades of this character in some way being portrayed on screen. This investment is already there, as well as kind of these Daniel Craig kind of portrayals of Judi Dench's M is a bit different, of course, to even kind of Pierce Brosnan era of M, but seeing this and kind of this being the third for example Daniel Craig film, it's just so fascinating, and the satisfaction I get from this, and the tragedy of this. This film really is such an affecting tragedy for the kind of demise of M, and many other things as well. In this film we have the return of many different elements of previous Bond films, of course Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, that film being naturally being a follow-up to Casino Royale. These two films did not have Q in them, and of course Moneypenny either, so it's very nice to see straight away just seeing Q fairly early on, I guess, in the film, and played by this time around Ben Whishaw, and for me a stunning portrayal of this character, and I just love the kind of way in which there is this charm to Q once again in this film, and of course Desmond Llewellyn was just for me the absolute greatest, and once again it is just so sad how he kind of departed, and in the World Is Not Enough, that is his final unfortunately performance of Q, but Ben Whishaw is such a worthy I feel kind of I guess actor to take over this role, and I think he just really nails this role. The charm, the humour, of course, and just the banter between him and Bond, just perfected in this film, and it's going to be so great, for me to kind of see different films going forward as well. I can't wait to, for example, see potentially many more films. With Ben Whishaw playing Q, and he really is just so good in this film, and I love how this film really portrays this team once again, of MI6, and similar to the Pierce Brosnan era, portraying them as this kind of family, this team, and just a bit different this time round, and they are very much compromised in this film, and Silver is constantly on the case, and his plans just are manipulated in such a way that Bond is almost as well killed at different various moments in the film, and just the different agents kind of under threat, and it's this kind of intense thriller, action film, adventure as well. Kind of, I guess most of the film, yes, it does kind of take place in London or around London, and I guess it's kind of it's not as much of a globetrotting film as, for example, many different Bond films. As well. In the end, we have the final act being in Scotland. So the UK mainly being feature for this film, and of course, I guess it's great to see that. I think, and this one really. It has this kind of, oozes this British charm, and a very unique film, within the franchise for that as well. Kind of mostly taking place, in the UK. So yes, very interesting indeed, and I love how the final act is, you could say, a bit different to the previous acts, of the film, and we have this kind of somber, kind of just atmospheric piece, and then it's all out, assault on, Skyfall itself, and just the kind of the manor being destroyed, and of course Silver kind of coming face to face with M and then Bond as well. It really is just so stunning to see, and I do prefer. That's definitely the previous acts of the film. The final act, I do love it, but I would definitely take the previous acts of the film. I think the middle of this kind of middle 45 minutes or so, the centre of the film, is the absolute greatest, part of this film. It just combines so many elements, of Bond, and just, seeing as well Silver, getting chased by Bond, and then of course him coming into the kind of courtroom as well there, just seeing that kind of discussion with MI6 and different members, and for then Silver to infiltrate this, in disguise, it's just wow. And that moment, of course, when he threatens M, and very nearly at the moment she is killed there, and of course Mallory saving her, and of course Bond as well coming in and kind of rescuing M, and taking her, of course, to Skyfall, and that's when the final act kind of plays out. But this film, just going through these different emotions, and just feeling this this warmth and this charm, of this franchise. It's just so it's such a treat, and it's so remarkable in its storytelling. Sam Mendes, directs this film to perfection, in my opinion. I think just the opening sequence is one of the absolute greatest in Bond history, and of course as well leading into the kind of titles, which for me are stunning, and Adele as well performing the kind of title theme, Skyfall of course, and I'm personally not a fan, of different, I'm not usually, for example, a listener of, say Adele, and it's just not my kind of, I don't really listen to music, modern music in that sense, but in this film, and hearing this theme, I think this is just a masterpiece of a song, and hats off to Adele. Just everyone involved in kind of, producing this this song here, this theme. It really is just one of my favourites. In the franchise. It's not kind of top 5 material, I guess, but it's one of my absolute favourites, and I really love this this song, and I listen to it, quite often. Just like I guess many of the Bond themes, there's only really, I guess, a few that I skip here and there when you're going through the entire kind of franchise, listening to this, the title themes, I guess, there are a few that I skip, and one of them, of course, being Quantum of Solace. This one here, and this film in general is such a kind of welcomed, return to form for the franchise, and I think the theme is just one of them aspects, because of course Quantum of Solace, for me was just this very choppy, kind of film that did not feel most of the time like a Bond film. It did have this coldness to it as well, and this kind of detached feeling, I guess, and really, I didn't really get too much of the, I guess, the sense of where we were going with the locations and all this kind of stuff, and I think Skyfall is a return to form, in the sense of being a luxury, premium Bond, as well as just being such a kind of effective piece of storytelling, and visually, and just the sound design, of course, and the score being by Thomas Newman. So just what a score this is, and very different to previous Bond films in the score, but it does have this, bringing back the cues, of the Bond theme, for example, and I love, of course, the moment we see the DB5 and them driving off, and the Bond theme kicking in, full on kind of stuff, and just this epic moment, this pumping moment, and just so kind of satisfying to see. As I say, this kind of this film that tributes and kind of nods to different Bond films, but it feels like its own kind of thing, and it's unique, and it's just this such a fascinating film, so accomplished, and Sam Mendes, of course, directing this so wonderfully, and the way this film is shot, of course, Roger Deakins as well, working on the cinematography, and just once again, this is just stunning, and I think just especially the kind of use of blues, and the kind of contrast, the nighttime scenes. This is just stunning to behold. The colours on display, and using this to kind of I guess confuse different scenes, as well as kind of highlight different character moments, and for example, the scene, one of the fight scenes, of course, we have these blues, and it's in the dark there, and this kind of confusion going on. It works in its favour, of course, to make it more intense, and engaging, and later on in the film we have different moments where we have just this the lighting, and all these different techniques being used to kind of create clarity, I guess, and to focus in on different things as well. So we have this kind of perfect use of visual storytelling throughout, and this film is just such a kind of treat to see. After, of course, viewing Quantum of Solace, not to kind of bash on that film, but what a kind of welcomed return to just see a Bond film that is clear in its storytelling, and to see for example, a scene play out, and to know how that kind of contributes to the narrative, and just to see the next scene play out, and to have that momentum leading us through into the next scene. And I guess the editing is a big thing here. In that sense, the editing is so much better, and it's just, I can actually see most of the things that's going on in this film, and be so immersed in that sense. And we have different moments, of course, in the editing and the kind of the way the film's shot, where we do have confusion. As I say, we do have most of the time being told a story that is just so engaging and clearly told, with clarity, with sincerity, and just always kind of moving us forward, and on a scene by scene basis. This film is just so engaging, and I learn so much about the characters. The character development is stunning, and the script to this film, wow, one of the best Bond history for me. But just seeing how this film is told, it's just so remarkable, really. And it's a hats off to Sam Mendes and everyone involved, portraying this film, and just telling us this story where we have this sense of clarity. And I know, for example, Act 1, 2 and 3, and how we've learned this and that, and the different themes that are being explored in this film. And for example, this kind of revenge theme, and I think as well, kind of the past coming back to haunt you, I guess, and not being able to potentially escape sometimes, past events, and all this kind of stuff going on, in this film. I just get every single moment, and I take it in, and I'm able to, be moved by this, and to learn what is going on, and what the kind of purpose of this narrative is, and how the filmmaker and all those involved, trying to convey said emotion, to the audience. And there is this ambiguous nature to the film, this kind of mystery, of course, throughout. But we have so much that's just, it's easy to take in. And I don't think, it's just a case of it being simply told, and it's easy to do that. No. In fact, in cinema, really, one of the most important things is to be a clear storyteller, and I think it really is very commendable to see a film where a filmmaker just clearly and simply tells particular aspects of a narrative to the audience, and to tell a story clearly. It's just so essential to being an effective film. And I think Sam Mendes done such a wonderful job with this, and there's this kind of sense of the action being so epic in scope as well, and just how this whole film is balanced. I think truly is remarkable. We have action scenes throughout, and just perfectly kind of balanced with story beats, and character development, and just humour, charm, and there is a grace to this, the way it's told, and there is this harmony, I guess, of the elements working together, and just this kind of intensity, and this humour, and just the way in which we have this kind of epic film, but we have the patience, and also this wonderful flow in which constantly, I'm kind of hooked on this narrative. And I think there is a thing about this film, it just feels so full of life, energy, and just character working, of course, but there is a sense of fun to this that I love so much. And we have different kind of dark moments in this film, and kind of exposition, of course. For example, with Silver, kind of big sequences dedicated to, for example, explaining how M betrayed him, and we have, of course, him showing the way in which cyanide kind of destroyed part of his face, and that is just a very disturbing moment. And when I saw that for the first time, it really freaked me out. But seeing that, for example, and that whole kind of contained scene sequence there, it's so investing in the sense of character working. But we also have this kind of sense of as the narrative goes through, and we're going to the different scenes, A to B, and all this kind of stuff. It's this sense of energy that I feel from this film, and the patience, but also the energy, and it's just so fun to see this. The action set pieces, and just these massive kind of sustained moments of tension. But, you know, the middle portion of the film, as I say, is my favourite part, and I think seeing the way in which this kind of, you know, middle portion plays out and culminates in that rousing, you know, kind of sequence there, where we have this voiceover, of course, the score kicking in really there, and just this way in which Silver kind of you know, really comes close to, as we know, killing M in that sequence there. But we have Bond running down the streets to her rescue, and just this epic sequence combining so many elements, you know, filmmaking here, and just using, you know, all the kind of techniques and the simplicity as well, you know, of cinema to tell this moment and to kind of deliver this epic, kind of emotional, overwhelming moment. We have this kind of showdown between Silver and M and Bond, you know, part one, for example, and then the final part, you know, of that showdown is, you know, being in that location of Skyfall, going back to Bond's childhood and seeing this, and I love the way in which Daniel Craig kind of goes through these different emotions throughout the film. For example, the opening sequence, he is the kind of usual wisecracking, confident, you could say, Bond, and then he is broken. Then he comes back, and he is kind of protective once again, you know, of M, and then of course in the final act, he is broken again. But you know, he is just this character, as we know, James Bond always comes back, and he comes back and he fights on, and we have that kind of complexities and the kind of fighting, the internal struggle, you know, of Bond throughout the different moments in this film, throughout the entire narrative. We have such a kind of variety, you know, of situations, you know, I guess, and things that, you know, Bond obviously feels throughout the film, and it's just so fascinating. It really is one of the best, I must say, kind of portrayals of Bond, and I think, you know, all the different moments with M, you know, brings out even more in the character in this film, and just seeing the final moments, of course, with Judi Dench, you know, and Daniel Craig, it's so heartwarming, of course, and very, very tragic indeed, and you know, always just loving these interactions throughout these films. But you know, this film here, really, M is just such a great character here, and just seeing how you know, she is just used as kind of this central character in this narrative, and she has this relationship between with you know, this past agent, you know, Silver, and that is brought back, and she is kind of shocked, and there is this kind of look on her face, you know, this kind of haunted look, I guess, and you know, these past demons coming back to haunt her, and I love the different moments, of course, when seeing the messages, of course, you know, from Silver, you know, think on your sins, and all this different stuff that really is just so disturbing, and of course, at the same time, it's so satisfying to see that Bond, in the end, does defeat Silver, although there is that kind of complexities, you know, to that, in the sense that M does, you know, in this portrayal, make her, you know, departure for the series, and you know, it's so sad to see, you know, for example, M perish in that moment. But we have that kind of the sense that, you know, Bond has defeated Silver, and you know, he is back at the end of the film, you know, for another assignment, and he is ready to go out once again on the field, and this never-ending, just you know, this never-ending, you know, kind of sense of, you know, Bond going out on adventures, going out on these missions, and just yeah, he keeps going, he lives on, and despite all that he goes through, and different characters around him that kind of depart, you know, from the series, there is this kind of lovely feeling in the end, you know, a final line, you know, of Mallory, or in that sense, you know, the final scene, our new M, Ralph Fiennes, of course, the final line being, you know, just so epic, and of course, with pleasure, you know, just such a kind of epic moment, and it gets me pumped for the next entry, which, you know, we'll talk about, of course. But you know, Skyfall is just such a stunning film. This kind of epic blockbuster. The cinematography throughout is stunning to behold. The use of blues and reds, I would say in particular, you know, really are stunning, and just you know, the way in which we kind of go through this, these action kind of set pieces, and just we learn so much, and you know, this thrill, and you know, Bond following different characters, of course, throughout the film, and the kind of elevator sequence. Wow, you know, that is just so thrilling and intense, of course, Bond hanging on to this, and as we know, his injury being something that kind of almost makes him fall from this and perish, but have all this kind of stuff going on, making it more intense and involving, and just so much kind of going on in this narrative. The themes are explored, and just as well, as I say, kind of the return of so many things. Of course, Q returning to this film, and Moneypenny as well. Of course, Naomi Harris playing Moneypenny, and of course referred to as Eve throughout most of the film, and essentially, kind of in a way, kind of acting as the kind of companion to Bond, the way that past films would as well. We have Severin in this film, played by Bérénice Marlohe, but of course she is very, as we know, her kind of role is very short-lived, but really the main kind of companion, in this sense, for Bond, is Naomi Harris, and I love how she's kind of guiding Bond throughout, and I love the banter between them, throughout. It's just so on point, and just this kind of earned, I think, relationship. It really is so kind of investing, and Naomi Harris, I'm a big fan, of this actress, and she's been in many films, of course, and she's such a great actress, and I love how she is, cast in this film, and really perfect. Once again, kind of a choice for a different character to return to the series, and Ben Whishaw and of course Naomi Harris, just playing these characters with such kind of sincerity and dignity, of course, and just this kind of dynamic, of course, that was in past Bond films between these characters and Bond. It's just so well captured here, and it feels so authentic, despite being kind of completely different. Kind of people playing these characters, they nailed it. They really did deliver, and I think just this whole kind of family feeling I get, at least the sense of warmth, from a variety of different characters banding together in this sense. And of course, Bond being very much, kind of looking out for M throughout, despite, of course, the kind of complexities, of their relationship, and how, we have a very important point to make is, kind of the way in which, as we know, in the beginning of the film, we have M saying, "Take the shot," and Bond, is shot down, and he's injured, and it takes a while for him to kind of return to the field, but of course we have this, and of course M, as we know, acting on her instinct, and she does not, of course, want Bond to fall there, but there is that kind of sense of brutality there, I guess, that harshness, and of course later on in the film, that kind of reunion between M and Silver, of course Bond being present in that scene, that is such a fascinating moment, because from what I get from this sequence, I think, when Silver kind of explains how M betrayed him, really Bond, there is a look on Bond's face to M, and it's, for me, it's kind of, this kind of distrust, slightly, I guess, and the kind of doubting M, and kind of him perhaps seeing a similarity between the way in which he was treated by M at the beginning of the film, and how Silver perhaps was treated. I know, very different, of course, scenarios, but it's that same kind of feeling, I get, that these two agents are being essentially used in some way by M, and of course Silver responding though in such a way that's so extreme, and this revenge, whereas Bond, kind of once again, there's this kind of bond between bond between Bond and him, this kind of relationship, this kind of feeling, and I guess he is still there regardless, to kind of look out for M, but we have that kind of complex feeling, and that slight kind of look there, that subtle look, and I get that feeling, the Bond, kind of, there is this kind of struggle, in Bond's mind, and kind of him thinking, oh, I see a kind of I see a resemblance there between what happened with with Silver and M, and what he's hearing, and what happened between M and Bond at the beginning of the film, and how Bond was kind of used in that way, and there was that kind of harshness, and using said agent, and I just really love how that dynamic kind of plays out, and we have that kind of subtle moment. It doesn't kind of overtake things, it doesn't take a kind of it kind of doesn't overbear this kind of relationship, but it is that kind of underlying, thing that's added to this, and I think makes the kind of relationship more complex, more human, and more believable, in this film, and just this kind of the sense of doubt, but afterwards, still kind of looking out for M and going all the way to kind of protect her, in the final act, and it's just so warm. This film is so human, and I love the different kind of story beats and how this kind of affects, yes, the relationship between M and Bond, and it's just such a stunning film. The action set pieces, so visceral, but so kind of clean as well, and there's nothing that kind of as I say, confuses me to the point where I'm not kind of invested in a sequence. For example, with Casino Royale, we had this kind of perfect way in which we had the action play out and the editing. Quantum of Solace, not so much for me, and it was too much, too choppy, and I wasn't really invested in it because it was too much, and I wasn't getting enough of said frame to actually get involved in the story being of an action sequence. The storytelling where action can tell a story, and between two different characters or a variety of different characters, and reveal character moments, just dynamics, and of course power. And I think in this film there is this kind of perfect way in which we have confusing moments, but it's all for effect, and it all kind of works perfectly. And at the same time, we have this, different action set pieces being so clean and just pleasing, I guess, on the eye, and so involving, kind of inviting us in to kind of take part in these visceral, hard-hitting, but kind of graceful action sequences. And I just love the variety in this film. Of course, the opening kind of sequence is just one of the best in the kind of franchise, and I think seeing how kind of we have these small moments of action, and of course in the middle of the film and the final act, we have these massive sequences, these epic kind of thrilling sequences, and of course the underground sequences, and it's great to see different moments, of course in London, and just seeing different moments in the underground. It's just really satisfying to see, for me. But yeah, it's just seeing all these different action set pieces, and just seeing the way in which this contrasts, quite a bit with the final act and how this plays out. Of course, the helicopters coming in, and just Silver, being such a kind of presence, in this film. But in the final act, I think it's really he is so out of control and consumed by revenge, but he does kind of slip up, on occasion, and he does perish there, and Bond is successful, I think, because he keeps a level head, and I guess also because it's Bond, and he's a legend, and he can kind of defeat anyone really, in a sense. But there is the sense that kind of Silver, is kind of this consumed character by this revenge, and just because of that nature, of him, he doesn't really care in the end that he dies really. It seems like, and he's just wanted to harm M, and in the same regard, we have this very complex, kind of confusing, character who kind of in the end, there's this kind of sadness on his face, when M is kind of injured, and he kind of sees that moment there, but then he is straight after that willing to kind of kill them both, and it's just so fascinating to see this character clearly unhinged, and consumed by this ideal, and just this insane character. But it's fascinating to see, and of course never really fully wrapped up, in that sense, and how his motivations are, but it's perfectly left on this note, and it kind of allows the film to be more kind of disturbing, I guess, and affecting, and just the way in which this final act plays out. Seeing, of course, Albert Finney as well. Him kind of coming into this moment, in the final act. I just love it. I love the kind of the banter between him and Bond, and seeing him talking to M as well. This film, once again, just like the best Bond films, it's about relationships, dynamics, and interactions. I feel, in the kind of in the franchise, and just kind of putting these characters into a slightly different scenario or set of circumstances, but once again, kind of it's about relationships and interactions, and amidst all this kind of action and fun and just kind of thrills, we have this kind of very very moving tale and this tragedy and this film that really kind of portrays these characters, these existing characters, in a slightly different way, but it really is true to the franchise. I feel, and it's so kind of authentic and sincere in its storytelling and the way in which these characters interact, and just the different kind of power struggles in the film, and seeing this Bond villain who is familiar but very very different indeed, and I just love how Javier Bardem portrays this character, Silver, and just this entire narrative being such a kind of absorbing piece, and just seeing this film play out, and this epic film, and this charm though, it's so kind of satisfying. And I just love how Silver kind of highlights, I guess, the kind of vulnerabilities of MI6, and how he really gets to M, and just you can see that on her face, and how he has affected her, and really got to her deep inside, and as well just the way in which he gets to Bond, and he really is this kind of this villain who is really a match for Bond, and physically as well, perhaps kind of not so much, but he is this kind of intimidating guy, and just especially though the way in which he his plans kind of really highlight, as I say, the vulnerabilities of MI6, and kind of compromise them, and I love as well the first kind of meeting of Silver and Bond, of course on the island. This is just one of the greatest I think moments in the film, and just the writing, the way in which we have kind of this the camera placed very far back, from our character of Silver, and just slowly walking towards Bond, and seeing more and more information in this shot, and just this is what it's all about. This kind of scene, and this type of sequence is when a character is kind of we're learning more and more in every regard. Visually, we're hearing as well his kind of backstory, and this kind of I guess this kind of monologue, of course, this story, which has got so much kind of subtext. It's rich in kind of deeper meaning, and it's this as well dynamic being established between Bond and of course Silver, and Bond being tied up and helpless, and Silver of course coming towards Bond, and as well we have in that scene this kind of fascinating kind of dynamic, of course, this seduction of Bond, potentially the seductive feeling of Silver, and the kind of moments there, and just very very fascinating as well, and just a really great way to kind of make it more entertaining, this sequence, and we have so much going on, as well as this comedy to this sequence, and I think there is a comedy as well throughout the film with Silver, and the kind of performance of Bardem, and I think he brings this kind of this charm to the character, because of course the character's plans very very of course very very intense, and evil of course, and he is this kind of this villain, but he does bring this kind of likability in the sense of just cinema performance, this kind of theatricality, I guess, I'm trying to say, to the character, and it's great to see the comedy, just the different, the kind of unique traits of this character. For example, the face, and the kind of disfigurement, which is kind of as well down to M. So it's all kind of related, this film. That's the thing, the villain, Bond, M, and MI6, as a kind of as a team, as a as an organisation, and it's all connected, and it all kind of works. To kind of reveal things about the kind of the different moments in the film, and I think it all kind of works in harmony, and just to see the kind of way in which Bond and Silver kind of are in that first sequence, and the way in which it ends. It's just this perfect kind of hero villain dynamic, and I think just this kind of as well in this film, Daniel Craig, as I say, gives such a great performance, and I think in this film he is this kind of hard-hitting menacing character once again. There's the danger of Bond being brought back. These Daniel Craig films really kind of portray that so well, and I guess Spectre is a bit different in that sense, but seeing, for example, Quantum of Solace even, it is this kind of danger of Bond that is captured, and he is hard-hitting, he is this kind of ruthless character, and I love about this film, we have the kind of the ruthless feeling and the hard-hitting kind of tough, portrayal of Bond, but we have Bond being vulnerable as well, physically, because we have that kind of injury, and he doesn't really fully recover from this throughout the film. Of course, we have the kind of the bullets, the kind of remains being removed at one point, but even after that, his shoulder being quite a kind of a pivotal, kind of I guess weakness for Bond. That's the thing. This film really is about strength, weaknesses, I guess, and vulnerabilities, and really kind of making different characters in the film. Especially Bond. This human character, and I think the shoulder injury, really plays an important part in the action as well. For example, as well. Simply, as we say, the lift sequence, the elevator there, seeing that, the way in which that injury has affected Bond, and very close to falling there, and it changes the entire kind of nature of many different scenes, in the film, and it does kind of, as well. It's great to see, Bond being broken in this sense, and also, mentally, psychologically being affected by Silver, and a mark of a great villain, really is just to him getting in the kind of into the minds, of these different characters, and he is affecting them, and his plans, are effective in some way, actually. But we have that, and in the end, though, it's this kind of the hero does win, but of course, not without casualties, and I think really a complex film. There's so much going on. I love how we have as well this kind of being earned. The fact that Bond has this weakness. He is fighting through, and it's more kind of authentic, perhaps, for this film, and had for example, something happened at the beginning, and it would have been back to normal for Bond, and I love how we have that kind of moment in the beginning, and how it has repercussions, I guess, and that throughout the rest of the film. It does also highlight and reinforce that idea of the past kind of coming back, and having consequences. Bond is affected, and M is, of course, someone who did kind of betray, in that sense, Silver, and of course, he went too far. We know that his actions, kind of the response was extreme, and it was not kind of something you can justify through what M done, but still, there is a kind of sense that M has had an impact on different characters in this Bond universe. And speaking on that, just in general, the world building in this film is just remarkable. This is just a masterpiece, and I think seeing how different characters, kind of introduced and kind of attributed and developed in this film, it's just such a kind of all-encompassing Bond film, and I think really this film is one of the best. It's this classic feeling that it has, and being a unique film as well, but it really is a return to form, and just a return to kind of this premium Bond status for me, and the premium way of just knowing that I'm watching a truly great Bond film, and this kind of luxury feeling, the classiness, and just the confidence in the storytelling, and just the kind of the charm to this, the grace, just also the kind of hard-hitting, visceral moments that kind of throughout different Bond films. He captures all of this so well, and kind of tributes wonderfully past Bond films, Goldfinger, for example, and just seeing the DB5, it's such a treat. But then, of course, it being destroyed, in the final act, and it's just, Bond's reaction there, priceless. Seeing, of course, that there, moments of comedy like this, it's just so great, and I think seeing, as well the comments, with between Q and Bond, and saying about, basically, really drawing attention to past films, the gadgets, and kind of remarking on that, and I guess really respectfully though, of course, and just kind of showing affection for this, Sam Mendes and everyone involved showing affection for past films, in the Bond legacy and the franchise, and for this to be the 50th anniversary, of course this film marked, and Since then, you know, we've only had one other Bond film actually released, which is, you know, quite surprising. You know, we're nearly at the 60th anniversary next year, but you know, just such a kind of great film. I feel, you know, a perfect film to kind of mark this 50th anniversary. And you know, when I saw this film, as I say, you know, it was just an event. And you know, going to see Quantum of Solace, you know, beforehand was an event. You know, it was kind of this you know, excitement, but you know, seeing that film, and then you know, afterwards, you know, I was very disappointed, and just yeah, very sad to see you know, Bond film that I didn't actually like, which was very, very rare. But you know, seeing Skyfall when I came out of the cinema, I was just complete, you know, in that sense, and just so moved. You know, I'd been so kind of immersed, you know, in this film. Did not want this to end, and you know, it's this kind of film that has such a flow to it, and you know, kind of you know, an organic kind of progression in the narrative, and the way in which we go to different set pieces. But it's so, you know, kind of authentic and rich with different character moments. For example, in the action, and just, you know, this blend of action, you know, kind of adventurous spirit as well at times, and also this these character moments, and this kind of plot, which is so investing, and I think, just because, you know, it does stem from characters, you know, motivations, you know, their plans, and you know, different reasons for this, and I think it's all kind of related to this, you know, core kind of dynamic, and one character really in particular, M. She is really the central character. Obviously Bond as well, but you know, M is the one, you know, in this film who really is at the centre of this, and the one that, you know, different relationships that branch off, it's all related to her. You know, the actions, you know, of, for example, the villain, you know, being related to M in some way, and Bond and his injury, and his kind of departure from the field, and then him coming back to the field as well, and all this kind of stuff, and everything really is related to M. So it's really fascinating to see, and to kind of promote this character, I guess, to kind of a real main character. You know, it's really great, and I love, I really respect that, you know, for this film, how M was really given such you know, a pivotal role, and not to say that past films, you know, other films, you know, haven't, but you know, I think this film here is, you know, is the biggest M you know, kind of moment, I guess, you know, in the franchise, and I think just seeing the way in which Judi Dench and just all these performances, you know, kind of capture these characters, and you know, this charm, this kind of grace to the characters, and also this kind of you know, boldness, I guess, you know, to the storytelling, and yes, the performances, you know, really going all the way, I think, with different characters, and how they're kind of, you know, feeling and expressing these feelings, these emotions, and just, I think this film wraps up perfectly as well. Kind of this tragedy, so tragic, but it has this kind of really immediately afterwards, you know, and of course the funeral there, you know, just this epic moment where we have Bond, you know, accepting once again, you know, going back onto the field. He's ready. He is, you know, more than ready, and you know, despite going through all this, and the injuries, and you know, of course, people perishing that he knows and loves, you know, we have Bond back once again, and ready to kind of play, and yes, the moment at the end, the barrel, just, you know, wow, this film here, Skyfall, what can I say? This film truly is a legendary experience, and I think a premium Bond film, and you know, really a return to the classic Bond kind of feeling, and also very, very unique, and you know, it's just kind of, yes, unique vision. Of course, Sam Mendes adding his own kind of style and flair to this, but it is respecting the legacy of Bond, and just kind of paying tribute, and you know, kind of using different elements, you know, past Bond films, you know, kind of taking them in different ways, and I really love that, and I really respect that. You know, the kind of, yes, I respect the respect for the franchise, and just, you know, I really admire that, and you know, I love Bond, of course, and this really is just, you know, for me, such a treat to see this film, and you know, it's just a pleasure to watch this. Just these core themes, you know, of kind of revenge, you know, I guess regret as well, and you know, kind of, I guess, contemplation, but you know, we have this kind of portrayal as well, you know, of kind of duty and honour, and you know, just I guess as well, you know, love in different ways, you know, love of a fellow, you know, kind of, you know, in a companion way, and you know, this kind of, yeah, I guess, kind of a mother-son relationship between M and Bond is really fascinating, and all these themes that I've mentioned, and more, so packed with kind of depth, and just there's so much going on in this film, and it's not. It's just a decent length. I guess it's quite epic in many regards, but it has so much going on. It's such a kind of relatively short running time, really, compared to some films that would be perhaps exploring the same kind of themes, and in different ways. But this film is jam packed, and it never kind of lets up, and it has such a kind of wonderful flow throughout. And I think the narrative, the writing in this film, and just the production, the sets, really are something to behold. And I think, especially in the kind of central piece, in the film, and action-wise, the underground sequences, and all this, and the kind of sliding down the rail, of course, with the escalator there, in the middle, of course, the rail there, just a moment that just every time, I'm just kind of in awe of this. And Daniel Craig actually done this himself, that stunt, I believe. But yes, just so many different moments, of action, and these sets, and just the design of this visually, and it's this kind of sincere, inviting experience, and just so kind of true to the character, to the universe, and also a very, very bold, daring, and unique piece, vision, and just film in the franchise. So yes, this film means so much to me, and I really love, of course, the villain. This kind of intensity, the relationship he has between different characters, this kind of exposition, of course. And in the end, kind of portrayed as this, his demise is kind of pathetic, you could say, and just this very complex kind of ride of emotions, we go through with different characters, contrasting, mirroring, kind of traits, and situations, and all kind of, in this kind of Bond film, there is, definitely, a Bond film. It feels like a Bond film, very much in its DNA, but it is as well very, very bold and different kind of take on the character, and the franchise, and Daniel Craig portraying this character so perfectly. One of the best for me Bond performances, actually, and I think this charm, this charisma, it's kind of there's this struggle between this, and of course this trauma, and this kind of vulnerability that happens throughout the film, and this kind of him, kind of this protective nature of M, and him wanting to save M, and all this kind of stuff that happens. But seeing Bond just being Bond as well, going about, and especially kind of scenes kind of at the casino, and all this kind of stuff, where Bond is just walking around in his suit, and just being Bond, that kind of feeling of Goldfinger from Russia with Love, and all these films, just being brought back, and this kind of style, this charm, and this grace. It really is this majestic film, and I can't say that about Quantum of Solace, but again, I'm not bashing on that film, but Skyfall for me is this return to form. It's this one that really, it feels worthy of being called a great James Bond film, and one to mark the 50th anniversary of this franchise, and what a film it is. And for me, a perfect film to kind of mark this, and it is this luxury premium Bond experience that I truly adore from start to finish. I love every single element of this film. I love the visuals, the editing, of course, just being so stunning. The action is just so varied, layered. Character moments in the action, and just kind of this tension, this intensity, confusion at times, and just kind of adding to the tension, but also this involving clear way of telling a story, action-wise, and just in general, always invested in seeing the different story beats, and this entire narrative, this kind of vulnerability and exposure of MI6 being so compelling, and just the way in which, in the end, Silver is defeated, but of course so is M. Unfortunately, she does perish here, and it's so complex, this film, but it's just, as well, at the same time, so fun, so kind of energetic, and just inviting, and so thrilling. This is just a truly legendary film, and I just love the kind of the kind of blockbuster feeling this one has, and you know, of course, it did, you know, make over a billion at the box office, and you know, what a feat, and you know, just an explosion, and you know, really delivered, I think, you know, as a blockbuster, as you know, as a Bond film, and just as this kind of tragic, I guess, and also at the same time uplifting, you know, warm experience and inspiring story. And once again, it's a James Bond film that I truly love, and it's one of my favourite films of all time. So yes, my final rating for Skyfall is 100% plus tier 1. Yes, indeed, you know, absolutely. This is one of my absolute favourite films of all time. This is in my top 100, yes, along with, you know, many different Bond films. This is kind of around, I'm not going to say my ordering, but it's around the kind of Goldfinger, From Russia with Love, License to Kill, you know, kind of mark. I think Skyfall is one of them films that just moves me, you know, it comforts me, you know, it's this kind of warm, you know, peaceful film at times, you know, Skyfall, you know, the kind of first, you know, entrance into Skyfall, you know, itself in the final act, it's just great, and this, you know, going back to Bond's roots, his past, and exploring this, and just, you know, this whole kind of theme of, you know, this idea of the past coming back to haunt you, and this kind of way in which perhaps not being able to, in some way, escape your past, and Silva is, you know, this character who represents that, and M as well, you know, her kind of actions having a variety of consequences for many different people in the film, and it's just so fascinating. But you know, Bond, you know, in this film, you know, it's just one of the best portrayals, and I love Daniel Craig, you know, as Bond. He is one of my favourites personally. Not my absolute favourite, but he's right up there with the kind of the absolute greatest legends for me that played Bond, and you know, I think. You know, he brings so much kind of charm, you know, and kind of likability to the role. That's what I feel, and also being, you know, ruthless, you know, kind of guy to portray this physically, and you know, despite his kind of the character's shoulder injury, you know, in this film, he is still ruthless. You know, this kind of dangerous character who can, you know, take on so many different people, and in this film, in the final act, he's forced to kind of use, you know, his intuition, and I guess, you know, setting all the traps. It's just so great to see, and you know, kind of using the house, you know, exploring that, and just kind of using this against the villain and his henchmen, and I love as well the kind of the subtle moments between Silva and his men, and it's just so great, this, and this kind of atmosphere that's present throughout, this kind of tone, and this, I guess, yes, this kind of atmospheric feeling that classic Bond films, you know, kind of brought off as well. I guess, you know, From Russia with Love being, you know, real kind of one at the top of that, you know, I guess, portraying this kind of atmospheric feeling, you know, of the villains and their plans, and just this way in which Bond is kind of put up against them, and I think in this film, as I say, Bond is just portrayed so wonderfully, and yes, from start to finish, this is just a truly legendary film that is comforting, warm, you know, magical, I feel, and so thrilling, visceral, and you know, intense. It's so gripping. You know, I get the kind of feelings, the butterflies, you know, in the stomach, and just this kind of on edge feeling, and you know, with an energy drink in hand, you know, it's just even more, you know, just channeling these emotions. I always have, you know, an energy drink and stuff, and just to get so pumped up, and to go through this entire experience, it's just a treat. And you know, I think this is one of the greatest films ever made, in my opinion, and yes, I absolutely love this film so much. It really is a film I truly adore, and you know, is one of the best Bond films in the franchise for me. As an action film, as a thriller, a drama, and you know, a Bond film, for me, this is an absolute masterwork. And the score, the title theme, the sequence, of course, being so wonderful as well. The actual titles, and all the way up to the ending, which is just so tragic, of course. You know, seeing the way in which it pans out, but then after that, you know, this kind of pumping, epic feeling, you know, Bond and his line, and of course our new M being Mallory, you know, becoming M. So yes, great to see. Ray Fiennes, and more to come with that. You know, and all the different ways in which these characters in this universe, you know, kind of portrayed in my Spectre review, and I look forward to that. And for now, what do you think of this film? What do you think of Skyfall? It'd be great to hear your thoughts, and you know, just discussions on James Bond. Let's go. Yes, indeed. Let's kind of keep going with Bond, and I cannot wait to see. Of course, No Time to Die, and of course, there's so much to talk about with Bond. This legendary franchise. We have as well, a discussion that I guess will be up before this, my Casino Royale book or novel discussion, and that should be up. And yeah, going forward through all the novels, and I can't wait to do that. And of course, yes, many more Bond lists to come in the future, and discussions. So yes, Bond, James Bond. We will discuss this film and this franchise. So yes, I look forward to that and hearing your thoughts. And as always, take care and thanks for watching.